Welcome to Basketball Illuminati. We are here at Summer League in Vegas. I'm Tom Haberstroh, and as always, I'm joined by my 5-star generals from the Illuminati. The Basketball Illuminati podcast has been here. We are here. It is Amin El Hassan and Anthony Mays, our producer, and we're joined by the esteemed Yahoo Sports senior writer.
That's a long pause after his theme. Like he reconsidered.
I did the dramatic.
He reconsidered. Like, is that too much? Is that too much?
Blowing off some steam.
keep third eye open. Okay, Vinnie Goodwill has joined us on the show today. Covers the NBA and has inside knowledge of how everything works. He's one of the best in the business, and we're very, very happy to have you on the show today. We're going to talk about KD. We're going to talk about Kyrie and all the other craziness that's happened in the league. I've got my own research that I want to present in this podcast and a segment that we like to call, what does it mean?
Tom does his own research.
Tom does his own research. But first,
you are listening to the Super Agenda.
Supersizes are back.
They said to make it huge.
I don't care. Just supersize me.
With Tom Haberstroh and Amin El Hassan.
So on the agenda, Vinnie Goodwill, we brought you on for this particular reason. Is KD going to get traded while we're here? Is that going to happen?
While we're here?
Yeah, like right now in this podcast that we're
on
taping.
The set. Yeah.
No, it's not going to happen in the next hour.
Man, I'm praying now. Hold on.
It's going to be.
Why would you wish that upon me, Amin El Hassan? Spoken like a man who doesn't have to write upon something crazy happening. He can just sit and watch the world burn, right, Amin?
I just hop on the radio and just start talking. That's all I got to do. But, Vinny, you were all over this story. And it started actually before kind of some of these rumors have formulated. It started when we first got the news that he'd requested a deal. You wrote a really in-depth piece about Kyrie and the relationship with ownership, and Joe Tsai is basically saying, no mas, I'm not doing this anymore. It was a great piece, but there was a nugget that was buried in there, and I said, wait, is this right? And you said that Joe Tsai would rather waive and stretch him than go the season with Kyrie on the roster.
You noticed that.
I did notice that. I'm surprised more people didn't notice it.
Hey, man, he's an amazing writer. He's not burying that. He has strategically placed that in the article.
Honestly, that's why I'm here. I get it now. I get the show. I get it now.
Aggregators! Grown up!
I mean, think about it like this, y'all. Joe Tsai is a dude that's run through 3 CEOs on the business side. Do you think a man of such wealth is willing to take orders from Kyrie Irving? Like, come on, y'all. Like, at a point where you don't find a trade partner, let's just say the Lakers, let's just say that trade doesn't happen.
Right.
There's no way that they allow Kyrie Irving to step foot inside Barclays or the training facility in Manhattan or whatever the hell that place is or whatever, right? There's no way in hell he comes back. So if you don't make a trade with the Lakers and there's nobody else out there willing to deal with you, why not take that $39 million or whatever it is? What is it? Multiply by 2, add 1.
Yeah, it's 3 years.
Guess what? You know what that's the equivalent of? That's the equivalent of, that's the equivalent of a bad contract that Sean Marks used to take on players with draft picks attached that helped sort of fuel this rebuild. You got to start over anyway. Why not start it off with a bad Josh Smith contract?
Wow, what a callback, Josh Smith.
It's crazy to think, like Kyrie Irving, like not 2 months ago, we were talking about how he's the most skilled player in the NBA on planet Earth, and now he might be Josh Smith and Andre Drummond out of the NBA, that no one is willing to come to the asking price that the Nets want in a trade. And he's already said the Lakers, they're in a stalemate. We talk about this a lot on this podcast, is that there's always a game of chicken between what the player wants and the front office wants, and then that third piece, which is the other team wants, right? So the Lakers just have another pick, the 29 pick, the first-round pick, that they can throw into a deal potentially to bring Kyrie Irving to the Lakers. It just opened up. But if you're the Lakers, are you willing to commit 27 and 29 to get off the Russell Westbrook contract, get Kyrie Irving to play next to LeBron James, if you don't have LeBron committing long-term with you?
Okay, well, you're talking about completely differing agendas, right? So we've got Genie Bus and the Rambai.
Yeah.
and Phil smoking peyote or whatever the hell Phil smokes.
Wildly peyote.
Yeah, there you go, right? So you got all of them. You've got LeBron and you've got Clutch. Their influence. Then you've got Darvin Ham, the Lakers brand, everything. There's all these different entities that have completely different agendas right now. Does Jeannie Buss want to maintain power or maintain the appearance of power more than she wants to win? Now, that's not to say that bringing Kyrie Irving there means that they're going to win, because I think you can do all this and wind up being the 7th seed, getting bounced in the first round by the LA Clippers, right? But you don't want to be the organization that doesn't give the generational player everything he wants, even if you're giving him the keys to drive this off of a ditch. You don't want to give him the leverage to say, you didn't do everything that I wanted you to do. I'm not going to sign this extension in August, when, to be honest, is him signing the extension the best possible outcome for the Lakers as a whole?
I don't think so. I mean, if you're the Lakers, unless you know LeBron's going to be there, do you want to hit your wagon at Third Eye Kai?
Third Eye Kai, man. You just named a bunch of agendas, and that's just on the Lakers side. Then you throw in what Third Eye Kai wants. You throw in what the Nets want. You throw in what Kevin Durant wants, because what happens to Kyrie Irving affects what's going to happen to Kevin Durant.
Does it?
I think it does. I think it does. I think for KD, that solidifies it's a wrap, right?
No, it's a wrap now.
There's no chance. You don't think there's any chance of salvage, even in the short term?
I think the one thing about Kevin Durant is he's really clear when he's done with something.
Right.
When we saw he was done with Oklahoma City, he was done.
Right.
That night in L.A., when we saw he was done with the Golden State Warriors, even though there was 6 months left, he was done.
Right.
Shouts to Ethan.
The one thing, there you go.
When he was done with Ethan, he was done.
He was done the whole way. The one thing that the Brooklyn Nets will probably hold on to and say is that he's a professional.
Right.
If we are in a situation where we don't get a deal done, and from what I've heard, smart money ain't necessarily getting a deal of value right now. Like I've heard the best offer, it ain't that great.
Right.
All right? Because they have no leverage. But they will think, maybe we can bring him into camp. Maybe this is Kevin Durant. He changes his mind every 5 seconds or whatever, which could very well be true. But when he decides he's done with something, I think he's done.
I mean, it's been, 10 days, 2 weeks since the trade demand, and we haven't heard a word.
Not a drop.
Well, he said something about people being with him in the gym and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, and then he complimented Chet Holmgren's shoes because
because of the KD.
he was wearing the KDs.
Because they're his shoes. Yeah, that's right, Tom.
Yeah.
That's right. Anthony Mays, man, just popped in out of nowhere.
It's a sneak attack. It's a sneak attack. Vinny, I want to ask you, you said that Josiah would rather wave and stretch Kyrie out of spite, maybe to prove a point, just to put his boots on the table and show his business strategy. How many teams that aren't willing to trade for Kyrie now would line up to bring him in if he were a free agent?
Line up or inquire?
If he's a free agent. Now, we're not talking about price tags. It's minimum 1-year deal. How many teams?
Okay, what you're trying to connect the dots on is saying that some people would rather not pay the price on Kyrie Irving and have him in the building.
Right.
Do y'all know that to be true? Because
I'm asking you.
No. What I'm saying is the thing that we've heard about Kyrie Irving is that if we don't like him, we don't want him in the building.
Right.
It's not about how much money he makes or doesn't make.
Right.
It's nothing to do with the price tag. It's everything to do with
You called him like
outside of the floor.
a master of destruction in your piece or something like that. And I was like, yeah, you bring him in and it just blows up everything, right? The Boston Celtics, we did this.
Partner in dysfunction, master of destruction, something like that.
You see how gassed he is off his own line?
If I can't gas me, who else will? You got to be your own best fan, man.
Let's say the Miami Heat were like, you know what? We don't want to give up the assets that it would require to get Kyrie Irving. Could we bring him in and have Kyle Lowry and Kyrie Irving at the 1, Jimmy Butler, without giving up any assets? You just bring him in.
Here's what I think. I think there are organizations that are mixed internally on Kyrie Irving. It's not a cut and dry, oh, no, we hate this guy, we don't want him. Mm-hmm. I think an owner may say no, a GM may say yes, a coach may say no. You know what I mean? The further the distance is from Kyrie Irving, the more apt you are to say yes. Why? Because you don't have to deal with him every day being the coach.
Vinny, so you're telling me that even if the price tag of trading assets for Kyrie Irving is gone and he is available, that his reputation is so bad right now that the best natural hooper out there would basically have the Lakers, and that's it?
What does best natural hooper mean? Like, explain. Can we get the X-Files music behind that and explain
we
best
got
natural
the X-Files music, Vinny. It's been going this entire time. Don't you worry about that. I'm just going off of what I've seen out there. Andre Iguodala praises Kyrie's abilities. Obviously, we know KD is a big fan of what Kyrie can do with the basketball. I'm just talking about his skill set, not everything else. That's going to just get passed over.
Wait, did he say Kevin Durant praises Kyrie? He called Kyrie an artist, right?
Yeah.
Ain't he getting away from that artist? Ain't these two artists going their separate ways?
Okay, well, let me start with this fundamental question. Is Kevin Durant leaving because Kyrie isn't getting extended or happy with the situation? Or is Kevin Durant like, this is my opportunity to get the hell away from this guy?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it's Kevin Durant, so it's a contradiction, right?
Right.
It can be two things at once, and this will sound really confusing, but I will try to explain it the best I can. I believe he looked at Kyrie Irving not getting his extension, the full max extension, as a sign that this is not a serious organization. Like, you don't jerk a player like Kyrie Irving around like that. Because that's my boy, I'm going to want the best for him. But sometimes you know that your boy ain't the best for you either.
Right.
So when you saw that, you're like, you know what? This ain't it. Even if I wouldn't have given them the extension, they should have. And because they didn't, get me out of here.
That third eye is wide open right now, man. This is what they don't want you to know, Tom.
That's right.
This is what they don't want you to know, that it can be two things at once. They want you to believe that we're in boxes. You got to be in this box or that box.
Preach.
But sometimes that box has a door in it. You go back and forth between the two boxes.
And sometimes it's not even a box. It's a triangle, right? And it's not even four sides. It's three.
It's a pyramid.
That's right.
There you go.
So you just wrote a piece about how there's a mirror involved here, that Kyrie and the organization, everybody's got to look at themselves and realize that, like, y'all made this bed. This is the state of affairs in the league right now, is like, if you're the Lakers and you're LeBron James and Jeannie Buss, do you look at Kyrie Irving and say, we can fix that, we can make that work? Is this just about Kyrie, or is this a larger thing about superstars in the league?
Well,
like,
I don't think Kyrie's a superstar, but that's a story for another discussion. I don't think superstars affect winning.
Well, he affects winning by not being there, Vinny.
Oh, there we go. By being truant, not showing up. There you go.
Truant.
Did you always have this feeling about Kyrie Irving, or is it over the years you changed your opinion about this player?
As the facts change the opinions.
Yeah.
I fell into the matrix like everybody else. Man, this kid is so skilled. You know, wait till he grows up and matures and all this other type of stuff. And then he gets with LeBron and is in the perfect sort of complementary situation. And let me make this perfectly clear. I completely understand why he wanted to get away from LeBron. Right. I completely understand why he didn't want to live in Boston. Because why would I, right? But at the same time, all those micros create a macro, and that creates a picture. And it can't be somebody's fault every time. How many times have we heard Kyrie Irving in real time take accountability? So when you talk about a superstar, that's accountability in the moment, that's showing up, that's sweat equity, that's all that other type of stuff. That's not Kyrie Irving. He is a great, great talent. I don't know if you can win with him. And if you're saying, man, LeBron can fix him, this ain't the same LeBron.
Right.
This ain't the same Kyrie.
Yeah.
It looks the same.
I said it's like when you live with your parents and then you move out, you get your own place, and then things happen. You got to move back in with mom and dad.
Yeah.
Like it's
just
not
like
the
old
same.
times.
It's
Yeah.
not going to be the same dynamic because everyone's grown, but inevitably mom and dad still look at you like, yeah, you go clean your room and take out the trash. And meanwhile, you're like, man, I'm a grown person. I don't have curfew. I can do what I want, right? So that's what I wonder about Kyrie in L.A. But I wanted to ask you about something you said. You were potting with Chris Haynes. And you said the Nets made an overture towards Minnesota.
Yes.
I want you to tell the people.
Aggregators unite.
Aggregators, mount up. Tell the people what the Nets allegedly demanded from the Timberwolves for Kevin Durant.
This is allegedly. I got this from a couple of people independent. Right. Here's what I won't even preface anymore. I'll just go into it. Yeah. Called the Minnesota Timberwolves, obviously, before they dealt for Rudy Gobert. And they said we would like the Ant-Man. We like Karl Towns, and multiple first-round picks and swaps.
That, to me, is a very. Let me ask you this, right?
Yeah, but that's just anchoring a negotiation, right?
But it's not anchoring a negotiation with the Minnesota Timberwolves, right? It's anchoring a negotiation for the world, Chico, and everything in it, right? Like, hey, don't come with your bullshit offers. Oh, man, I forgot we're on the concourse. Wow. Don't come with your BS offers. If you want this guy, he is arguably the best player in the game when he's healthy. You are going to have to give up the whole legacy of your franchise.
This is the cost of doing business. This is what it takes to get into the door. And I think it was purposely said to that person to get around to the league. It was purposely said to another person. It wound up making its way to me. Now, I didn't write it because I didn't feel like it was worth writing, but I felt like in context, we could have a discussion about it. So, yeah, of course they're going to set the...
Because if you think about it, KD has more trade value than James Harden a few months ago. And James Harden in that trade got Ben Simmons, who all-NBA player that was out, yes, but in terms of the actual accolades of Ben Simmons, and they got Seth Curry, and they got a couple picks for that, right?
Drummond.
You look at You look at the other trade with Rudy Gobert, that's what it takes to get an all-NBA player who's, all defensive, 3-time decoy. So when you're Kevin Durant and you're like, all right, I want out, and that's the asking price, are the Brooklyn Nets actually doing him not wrong here, but being like, hey, we're not going to trade you for peanuts. Like, we're not just going to throw you out the door and get nothing in return. So I'm sorry, KD, you're stuck with us.
Guess what I would like to do? I would like to go on a date with Kelly Rowland. I would like to go on a date with Halle Berry. There's a lot of things I would like to do. It doesn't mean I'm actually going to do it. So they can set their price. Right. They can say, we're only going to trade Kevin Durant for this, this, and this. With the belief, y'all, he's not going to be as unprofessional as those last two. Right. That's what they're holding on to. We're going to trade him no matter what because, if nothing else, he's going to come back to camp. When I don't know if he's going to come back to camp, and he's got to find a way to let them know that he means business, and they've got to find a way to get to business. Now, for your real third eye, what's going on today, somewhere around right now, a Board of Governors meeting. All the owners convening in one place. You know what Adam Silver would not like? He would probably not like his most, let's say, is Kevin Durant the best player in the league, or arguably the best player? Yeah. Not showing up to training camp? Right. Would you not like to have that around your league in September? So how about you tell Joe Tsai and Sean Marks to get this done before you embarrass the league any further?
Right, because the whole idea is, I've talked to players about this. We talk about we like professionals and professionalism and all that, but the reality is when you want something done in the NBA, you got to make a mess. You can't be professional. Like, and I've seen guys be professional and nothing happened, and then they make a mess, and then the next week they're out. It's not cool. Your name is going to get ran through the mud, like in the press and among fans or whatever.
James Harden,
Anthony Davis, Goran Dragic in Phoenix. I mean, like, there's a long list.
Eric Bledsoe, I don't want to be here.
Right. There's a long list of players, stars or otherwise, that wanted out or wanted changes, couldn't get it, and so they got it when they made a mess. For Kevin Durant.
Does he have to make a mess?
Right. Because on the one hand, you said, when he's done, he's done. On the other hand, we know this guy loves to hoop. And it goes beyond professionalism to me. It's just literally his desire to play basketball.
That's his ethos.
Right.
His ethos is playing ball. I'm with you. Does Kevin Durant have to do something more to step outside of character to get what he wants? Here's the counterpoint to that. He does not like being a villain.
Yeah. He sure
doesn't.
I was there in Miami, man.
This is killing him right now.
Yeah.
I bet you right now this is killing KD to be the bad guy in this. Even though all of us would say, you know what, this is a completely unserious situation.
Right.
Even if I got my partners being unserious, get me out of here. You know what I mean? We can all see that, but the public is so much against him right now. More against him than when he went to Golden State, I would say.
Well, you think so? No. You think it's hotter in 2022 in these streets for Kevin Durant than it was in 2016?
Maybe for me, I guess I look at it like I understood why he did it.
Sure. I think the justification in 2016 was very sound for him. And I think this is a tantrum. That was a business decision. This feels like lashing out.
I think some people, you're right. This might be hotter because people viewed it as you created this mess and now you're running away from it. That's what makes it different. Yeah. Because also we know a lot more about Kevin Durant now than we did in 2016.
Right.
We thought Kevin Durant was the opposite of LeBron, the guy who signed his extension on the day that LeBron had his decision. We had all these different things about, you're the real MVP. Yeah. And then when he made this decision in 2016, people changed their minds. Now you've got a more fully formed version of who the man is, who I still actually really like. But some people don't kick it that way because of who you decide to kick it with.
Yeah, how much of that heat is because of what Durant made, the decision he made, and how much of it is because of his homie?
80% of it, I think, is probably because of Kyrie, right?
Yeah, like that's the old Method Man line. Like, make it hot, people won't even stand next to you. Like, that's Kyrie. You know what Kyrie is? Also, the guys that, you know what? My brother's going to kick your ass. Like, wait, what?
Kyrie's the ultimate mirror.
Yeah.
Kyrie and Jimmy Butler are the two mirrors in the NBA. Whatever you are, they will test and expose or enhance. You know what I mean? Like, Jimmy Butler can be the full embodiment of what the Miami Heat say that they are. And like, oh, okay, you're not just superstars. You're literally this. Kyrie Irving is, oh, you say that you're about this.
Right.
Let me come and test this and stretch this out a little bit. And then you find out, the Brooklyn Nets aren't really this professional organization.
The thing about KD, though, is like when he left OKC, he fulfilled his contract and he left at the end of it.
Yep.
When he went to Golden State, he fulfilled his contract and then he left after it and they did a sign and trade with him. This, though, he's leaving after not even 1 year into his extension. He signed his extension last year, and before the extension even kicks in, he's already out the door. So this is a change in Kevin Durant's mentality. He's like, before, I honored that contract, and I made my decision, and I'm good. Things have gotten so bad in Brooklyn that he hasn't even started the extension, and he's already out the door, which is bringing me to some research that I did.
Oh, Tom did his own research, folks. Hey, people on the concourse, you want to hear this one?
Did my own research with the help of some truth tellers out there.
Look at concourse. Get a nice look at the concourse.
Yeah, they're flocking here. Hey, make a line.
Look at them running over. That's right. Tom did his own research, folks.
What does that look like? You doing your own research? Are you doing studies yourself? Are you in the lab on a nightly basis? What are you doing?
Do your own research.
Do your own research.
Do your own research.
Do your own research.
Doing your own research.
I'm not a scientist. I'm not here to tell everyone that this is it. For me, it's just giving everyone a chance to do their own research and find their own knowledge.
So I enlisted the help of my truth-telling comrades, Keith Smith and Spotrac.com.
Oh, love that website. Love that website.
They did an amazing job.
I thought it was called Spot Track, but I'm glad you pronounced it properly.
Oh, I got the Miami Heat in my head. I always thought it was Sport Track, like Sport
Track, like the Ford Explorer that was like half a pickup truck. That I swear to God, the whole time I thought it was Sport Track, and then I realized, then I was like, is it Sport
like an Eddie Bauer Explorer?
With the pickup in the back, right? Then I was like, well, no. Then I was like, is it Sport Track, like a sport contract? And then I realized there's no R in there. I'm just adding an R in there for no reason. Yeah, Spotrac, though. Shout out to them.
So SPOTRAC.com.
Yep.
They have a lot of salary data on there, and you can go back historically and get salary data. And it's hard to find salary data in the NBA, but they were helpful on this, and they sent me a list of all the max extensions and max contracts in the league since 2015. And I was able to do some research because right now we have a KD situation where he's not even 1 year into his 4-year extension max, and he's already out the door. Here's 6 recent ones where they only stayed 1 year or fewer in their new extension or new contract.
Bradley Beal, my bad. Oh, sorry.
We're gonna get there, Vinny. KD 0 years into his max extension. Ben Simmons, Paul George, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, and John Wall, all within 1 year or fewer of their max extension or contract, they have bolted out the door. And you mentioned the Board of Governors meeting here, and the owners are coming together, and the governors are sitting there, and they've got to figure out something to complain about, and I guarantee you this is very high on the list, is what does a max extension guarantee you anymore, Vinny?
It guarantees the player that they're getting their money. You get your money and you worry about the rest later. That's what you do. The rules are tailored. There's unintended consequences of every CBA, of every mechanism. This is the unintended consequence that the team that has you can pay you more, which means you sign with the team that can pay you more.
Right.
Which means you secure the bag and you worry about the rest later.
This is what I call the bag and switch. Okay? You get the bag and then you switch. We've seen in recent history a bunch of these stars.
Man, what's that look on your face?
That's his Tom did his own catchphrase face.
Yes. Tom did his own marketing.
That's a bag and switch. I was like, you know how some people pronounce bag bag? I don't know why they put a hard A in bag. You ever say, oh, you got a lunch bag?
Do people do that?
Yes.
I don't know.
Do people?
Better than being like Boston. And you put,
beg.
Never mind.
All right.
You put your heart in yours.
Oh, let me just say, hold on. Let me pause this to say, Game 6 of the finals was during the U.S. Open of golf. So there were no hotel rooms anywhere. They were all like $1,000. Like, I'm sweating this out. I'm trying to figure out where I could stay. I end up getting a hotel room in Southie for an exorbitant amount.
South Boston, yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, it hasn't been gentrified. Just I want everybody to know, it's still what it is, right? And so I'm complaining about the hotels, which by the way, we had been complaining about in Game 5 in San Francisco. We all had this conversation about, wow, the room,
We're
what's
media.
going on,
That's
what the
what we
rates,
do.
Yes.
da-da-da. This guy says, I'm staying at the Renaissance. I said, Renaissance? What was the rate? He said, that's a nice hotel. He said, $189 a night. Like, $189? He's like, oh, but it was only open for a couple hours. Like, well, why did you tell me? He said, I told Howard Beck. This is supposed to be my brother right here. This is Vinnie Goodwill for the culture. When confronted with, the rate has dropped to like an amazing amount, I'm going to tell Howard Beck.
Are you putting your third eye on Kyrie? See, once again, he's like Kyrie, doesn't tell the full story. Kyrie saying, I need 2 weeks off, because, for mental health break and then show up at your sister's birthday party, maskless, right? Amin conveniently omitted a detail.
What's the detail?
It sounds like Amin has an agenda.
Oh, here's the agenda. I don't know what it means. Agenda is. It's to blame another black man. You know what that is? we're gonna call you initials that start with JW.
Wait,
that's the agenda.
Watch out now. Hold on. Now you wait a gosh darn second.
Here's what Amin forgot to tell you guys: is that the block was open at that hotel for literally 10 minutes.
That's 10 minutes I could.
I didn't realize it because
Tell me, what do you not realize?
I booked it while I was on the flight.
Right.
And the flight was going out, so I had no internet access. And so I said, Vin, did you book this? I said, yeah, I booked it. Go ahead and check it. And they checked it. It was back to $700. Like, from the time between us taxiing and getting on the shuttle, the flight had changed in 10 minutes. I mean, the hotel changed in 10 minutes.
This is a convenient.
That's a convenient truth, I mean.
Yeah.
Back on this 5-year extension stuff.
Oh, sorry about that.
No, it's okay.
Bag and switch, baby. Bag and switch. Back to Tom.
Here's some more research from my friends at SpotTrack.com. We're going with SpotTrack? Okay.
I like SpotTrack better.
The 5-year max extensions beginning in 2014-15. There were 14 of them. Starting the 2014 and 15 through 2017 and 18, only 5 of those 14 stayed all 5 years. So the Zion Williamson situation where I'm locked in, 5-year deal, only 5 of the 14 players stayed with their team for the full remainder of that contract.
This is for the rookie extension or any 5-year extension?
Any 5-year max extension. Now I stopped at 2017-18 because the 5th year is this past season.
Still early, yeah.
Okay, so those 5 players are Steph, Dame, John Wall, Kevin Love, Bradley Beal. Okay, Bradley Beal just signed another 5-year max extension, and then we got over here Zion Williamson who signed another one. Mm-hmm. The average staying power, the average duration of that extension is 3.5 years. And if you're the New Orleans Pelicans, you're sitting there and you're like, all right, we got Zion Williamson for 5 years. Mm-hmm. And they say he's committed to the community. And they say he's committed to the city. And they have the YMCA thing in front of all the kids. And Bradley Beal, when they got the contract and they put it on the website, it says dedicated to DMV. And this is all to try to make a ploy of like they are showing us loyalty.
Right.
But I feel like the game has changed now where they have to pray, they have to beg for that loyalty because of what we've seen with Kevin Durant, what we've seen with Ben Simmons. They'll light the thing on fire. And so my question is, can they do anything about it? In this Board of Governors meeting, and we talk about it a lot, I mean, they come together, these billionaires come together, and they come with these grand ideas, and then it backfires.
Right.
They have what's called a negative externality, where you come up with a great idea, and then the cure is worse than the disease.
Yep, exactly. So a great example of this, if you remember back in the day, in a sign and trade, the guy used to get the full bird rights, the 8% rate, or it was 7.5% back then, you get the 5 years. So when LeBron went from Cleveland to Miami, he didn't lose a dime. he got to sign like the same exact type of deal he would have signed by staying in Cleveland. The owners took that to mean that, oh, if I make it so that, he can only get that money from me, then we'll get less sign-in trades. But what ended up happening was guys started signing outright. It's like, because it used to be, hey, I can go outright, but let's do a sign-in trade so I can get you a pick in return, and so I can get all the money, as opposed to signing outright by walking. Once guys knew, hey, I'm not going to get the money regardless, why am I doing a sign-in trade? I just walk and get outright, and teams started getting nothing in return. So I guess, Vinny, what's the fix, and then what's the risk?
Well, here's something I literally just thought of in the last 10 seconds. How about a reverse franchise tag?
So the player can pick?
No.
I thought the same thing. I was like,
No. It's almost like a reverse no trade clause, but in form of a franchise tag.
Right.
So player signs 5-year deal.
Zion Williamson, size 5-year deal. Right. Bradley Beal.
Do you want Bradley Beal with a? Never mind.
Zion Williamson.
But okay, player signs. Zion Williamson, Kevin Durant signs this deal. Maybe there's a mechanism that says by signing for the full max, we can't trade you and you can't be traded for 2 years.
Nobody.
Agree. I just literally popped in my head. Now, once again, you're making the declaration that the owners don't like this. That's what you're saying. You're saying the owners don't like all the player movement. What have the owners been saying for the last 10 years? We want to catch the NFL. We want to catch the NFL in terms of the 24-hour cycle, the 12-month cycle, all the interest, when we only have basketball for 6 months. Right. The only way to do that is to develop the rumor mill, the cycle, everything else, all the interest, which is generated by player movement.
Right.
Who says they don't like it? Who says
they like it when it doesn't happen to them?
Right.
Yeah.
So Joe Tsai's all about it because we got KD and we got Kyrie Irving and we got James Harden.
Unintended consequences. The league moves faster than it ever has. And here's my thing. What we thought of the league 2 years ago. 2 years ago, the Golden State Warriors stunk, and we never thought they would get back. 2 years ago, the Lakers were the Lakers, and we thought they might have rigged this to get another dynasty. And 2 years ago, we were sure that Giannis might not ever get over the hump. Think about how we looked at those three franchises completely different 2 years later. It moves so fast now, and that's the way they want it. They say they want continuity, but they really don't.
Because continuity is boring.
Continuity is boring.
Let me ask you this, because I'm trying to make your idea work. Do you think players would accept I cannot be traded, I have to live the life of this contract for more money, right? So 5-year max, like the highest max you can get in the league right now is 35% of the cap. That's for players who are 10 plus years in the league or have met the criteria for the super max.
Right.
What if there was a super duper max? 38%, or 39%.
Or like when Russell Westbrook signs a super max deal with the Oklahoma City Thunder, it moves down to just a max if he gets traded, if he asks out.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking, Tom. I think we're both on the same page because they have to stay with their team to get eligible for more money. But if that eligibility went away, if they get traded, if they're losing money from demanding a trade.
Then it gets messy though, because if the team trades away Russell Westbrook without him wanting to,
and he
loses money, they wouldn't sign up for that.
That's why, and then it's just a he said she said, or he said I guess, of the idea of like, well, no, he was acting like he didn't want to be here, and that's why we traded him. Well, no, I wanted to be here.
Or Kyrie not showing up to work,
right?
And them saying we have to trade you, and Kyrie saying, well, I didn't want to be traded.
Yeah, I never asked to be traded.
It's tricky.
It has to be. I'm going to pay you this much now. I could pay you more than this much, more than anyone can get. But if I do, we're stuck together for 5 years. No trades at all, no matter what happens. As an owner, I'm taking on a risk. What if he gets hurt?
The John Wall situation, right?
And so now I'm paying even more than what I was before. From a player situation, I'm taking a risk. What if this thing is just trash? What if I'm miserable here, right? How can I get out of this? But I think that at that point it becomes a negotiation point of like, you know what? No, I don't want that extra money. Or maybe, just maybe, there are going to be star players who are like, nah, I kind of want the money. It's always easier to give back the money after you've had some of it, right? So, Mays, let's just assume your idea, or Tom, your idea, works, and we can figure out who desired it. Like, we don't have the Kyrie shenanigans in there.
Paul George says, I'm not going to re-sign with you guys. I'm out in a year.
And
is
so
that a trade demand? Or
no,
is
no,
that
but let's just assume that scenario's out. Like, we know when it's a trade demand and when it's not, and there's no funny business there. I believe that players will sign for the more money, do the 3.5 years average that you said, stack up that money, and then I say, you know what? That extra $4, $5, $6 million a year, whatever it is, on the last year and a half of my deal, you can keep it. Get me out of here. I don't want to be here. Versus knowing, hey, when you sign this, you got to stay. So there is a decision there. I wonder if players would be like, you know what? I value the flexibility more than the extra 2%, 3% over 35.
Here's the thing that I think we have another unintended consequences in the future. Everybody's talking about how big the money is now, right? Like, we've gotten through the pandemic and everything else, and the cap
went up
even greater, right? In 2 years, the TV deals are up. You're going to have more media entities involved. That means the cap is going to explode even more.
Yes.
The question is, does that money go to the top crust, or does it go to the middle class? The reason I asked that question is because you said, will the players go for that?
Right.
We're usually talking about 10 or 15 players that these sort of criteria apply to. The entire voting body is something completely different.
Right.
Will the body go for something that supremely affects the top 1%?
Right.
No, even especially if the money continues to grow in the way that these things are settled, 30% of the cap. More. Minimum guys are still going to get minimum contracts. You know what I mean? This isn't the CBA of pre-2010 where the middle class got so much more and the top guys were underpaid. This is a lot more haves and not haves as much.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's third eye. That's what I'm very curious about if something like that comes to fruition, because it's going to be such a great disparity between how much you have and how much you can get.
Right.
So we always do this with a guest. I'm not putting you on the spot and saying you believe this to be true. Okay? We're not going to have it aggregated.
We're asking questions.
That if someone came to you and said, Vinny, this one conspiracy theory out there is actually true.
It happened.
It did happen. Which one would you be like, you know what?
Maybe.
There's the whole frozen envelope. There's the whole pizza with Michael Jordan. There's
AC in San Antonio.
AC in San Antonio. We've done that one. There's Kyrie. Well, there's a lot of things with Kyrie that people are keeping their eye open.
Michael Jordan suspended for 2 years for gambling.
Right.
And that's why he played baseball.
That's the one I least believe.
Yeah, no, because David Stern would have to say no to money.
Exactly.
Right? Like
David Stern is the ultimate capitalist. He's going to say, you know what, guys? I'm going to build my league around Patrick Ewing for a couple of years.
Come on down, Akeem.
There's Anthony Davis, the Pelicans winning that lottery.
I was in the room. I was in that room. I was in the room.
Okay.
I was in the room when that happened.
And so they did the sleight of hand in front of your very eyes?
If they did it, my hearing stinks, but my vision is good. I don't even need a third eye. I don't believe that. Now, what I will say, the frozen envelope, I could see the frozen envelope. Now, my thing is, if you're going to do the frozen envelope, you're going to do it for Patrick Ewing?
At the time, they're calling the next Bill Russell, man. Like, at the time,
and he hit Bill Russell's knees at that point when Bill Russell was already 20 years out of the league.
You know, they didn't have medicine back then, man. I mean, just like put some tussin on and get out there.
What's the biggest? Is that the biggest conspiracy? I used to believe the Jordan one. I don't anymore.
The Jordan, which one? The pizza or the suspension?
The suspension.
Yeah.
I used to believe that, and I'm like, why would you tell the biggest moneymaker in all of sports to go sit down somewhere?
The suspension makes sense when you believe that the league does things because it's right versus because it makes money. If you're young and naive, you think that there's the reason why things happen is because that's the right thing to do. That's the ethical thing to do. That's the moral thing to do. And then you grow up and you realize,
what's this look on my face say? Does this look on my face say I got a story to tell? I got something funny to say?
Man, yeah, all right.
So there's a player that I slander a lot, Amin El-Hassan.
Oh, man. Vinnie Goodwill has a lot of beefs.
No, I don't.
You say that, but like when I start naming and listing them, this is how it goes. And I'm not going to say any of the names, but this is how it goes. Vinnie, you got a lot of beefs. No, I don't. What about so-and-so? Man, he had it coming. What about so-and-so? He started it with me. Man, so-and-so. Man, no one's talking about him. Like you're not denying any of these beefs. You just have like an explanation
That's
of
not
why
beef,
they
that's
exist.
chicken. Come on.
It's tied to the Jordan thing.
Okay.
And I
wow.
think it's funny.
Okay.
I don't know if I believe it, but I just think it's funny.
Right.
Now, if you were to believe that Michael Jordan was actually suspended,
Yeah.
the one piece of evidence in your favor, the biggest piece of evidence, is that Jerry Reinsdorf continued to pay his $3.2 million salary
Right.
when he was
Playing
away.
baseball, yeah.
If he's retired, I ain't paying you to not
Right.
show up
Right.
in this brand spanking new building that I got that you're not showing up in. Why
Right.
am I paying you? All the while, you've got a disgruntled superstar or superstar in mind only that is pissed off about his contract. Now imagine how pissed off Scottie Pippen is. And he getting paid $1.6 million, and you paying somebody to be inactive
Twice.
for a year and a half.
Twice as much.
You paying this dude twice as much as me, and
Still.
he out there shagging fly balls in Birmingham, Alabama. Can you imagine how pissed off Scottie Pippen was? I do. And it's funny. Sorry.
Dude, man. It's funny how I took pains to keep identity secret.
I know.
And he's like, there's another superstar in mine. I'm like, well, I guess that gave it away.
There was no connecting the dots. The dots were
Yeah.
already connected. It was just like
people don't realize. Is this shtick, or do I really believe this?
wow.
Look, I'm gonna tell y'all right now.
He hit the third rail.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
music. X-Files music, folks.
Hey, he believes this, man. We not look. He's not. This is not a bit. This is not an act. Off camera, mics off. It gets worse, man. That's actually the tamest, most respectful version of his kind of his evaluation of Scottie Pippen as a staff record label and a mother-loving crew. So yes, this is not shtick.
Man, we went over, but it was well worth it because Vinnie Goodwill is that good. The Vinnie Goodwill
It's so
of the
ironic.
people.
His last name is Goodwill, and
yes.
for someone who has so little goodwill for so many people, Vinnie Goodwill.
How many people do you know that have beef with me?
Nah, that's a.
Wait, but you
that's,
just talked about how he does this, which
Uh-huh.
is he will say they don't have beef with me. I don't have any beef with anybody, but you just went through 6 different players in your head that you were like, oh, they got beef.
Yes.
That he has beef with them.
No. See, yes, he antagonized, but there are people that don't like you too. You think you out here lovable? Everybody love Vinny? Is that what you think this is?
I do.
Man, I gotta hear.
I do.
I gotta hear about it all the time. That's man. What y'all doing tonight? Oh man, I'm catching up with Chris Haynes and Sedano and Mo Dakhil and Vinny Goodwill.
Oh, I was in until.
Hey, there's some people I said we upstairs and I don't want to hang out with him. That happened.
Word?
That happened.
And it was with me?
Yes.
What?
Tell me who.
I can't tell you. I can't tell you because honestly I don't.
What just happened here?
I don't know.
I can't tell you.
What if I've been nice to a person that's just literally, waiting on the place to put the soft tissue?
They made it seem like this, and this is my biggest pet peeve, when people in the league think that if you work in the media, that means we out kicking it, and then he had a third tequila shot, right? And started talking bad about his star player. I'm like, nobody does that. Right. Nobody does that. And I said to them straight up, I said, you're not afraid that he's gonna say something or he's gonna reveal something that was in confidence. You're afraid that someone's gonna see us sitting together and people are gonna put 2 and 2 together. Oh, that's the mole right there. You see, he reporting on this team and. Who's telling them the stuff? The guy there that I saw at this bar, that bar. That's what they're afraid of, and I tell them, stop being cowards. Stop being cowards. You can have friends. It's okay to have friends.
Damn. Now I feel bad.
No, it's not who you think it is.
No,
it's not who you think it is.
I don't even have a thought.
Oh, okay, never mind then.
What you're describing, though, separately, if you haven't listened to last week's episode where we talk about the Deal Zone, you should listen to that.
The Deal Zone, yeah.
Deal Zone, one of the best we've done.
Let's ask real quick. I know we're running out of time, but Vinny, Michael Rubin, why? What is the magical spell that he has on all these young black men? All of his friends are either rappers or basketball players who are in their 20s and 30s. What is it?
I thought you might have known. I don't, because they show up at his yacht. They party together.
Oh, everyone dressed in all white?
All white. It's like the Death Row Mother's Day thing that they used to have back in the day.
Yeah.
That's what that's like.
Isn't it just being a connector? Whatever you want. Oh, I got you. I know this person. I know that person.
That's
Come
like
over.
World Wide West. So he's the white World Wide West.
World White West?
Add another W to it. I like this. I like the ring of that.
Yeah. World Wide West.
World White West.
World White West.
You see all the NBA superstars that are lining up to play for the Knicks now. You got to stay behind without the Knicks logo on your chest. You got to stay up below board, right? Right. Michael Rubin going below the board and then does the 4th of July party, the blowout party.
I'm sure that's the first time all those people have ever been at a party with. Like, it's like all of a sudden we have all these pictures of Michael Rubin with players like, oh, so now it started. All the parties before, he's like, no, I don't invite NBA players other than the Sixers.
Isn't that tampering?
Vinnie Goodwill, Yahoo Sports. Go check out his work. Thank you so much for joining us on Basketball Illuminati. We appreciate you and stay safe out there.